Welcome back, everybody, to Them Dragons, though, the official Game of Thrones podcast for Grind City Geek. My name is Duncan, and with me, as always, is Will.
Hello, everybody.
And G-Daddy Garrett Davidson.
How's it going?
All right, guys. This is the weekly show where we break down every episode of Season 7 of Games of Thrones. And this particular episode, episode 3, entitled "The Queen's Justice." I guess first of all, I want to know. Well, I always forget to do this crap. If you're listening for the first time, these two guys have watched every season of Game of Thrones multiple times, and I have not. I have watched I basically hopped on right at season 7, and for the first time. So I really have no frame of reference for a lot of what happens in the show. And the reason for that, the reason why I'm on a Game of Thrones podcast, since I am such a newbie, is it's for people out there who think that they can't watch the show, who have not watched the previous seasons. I am sort of your eyes and ears, letting you know that it is possible. And I think for season 7, it's been surprising. It's gone surprisingly well. It's been sort of, I've been eased into it, and it really. And I think this is probably one of the better seasons to jump in on if you haven't done so. But what I wanted to ask you guys is, what did we think about the Queen's Justice last night's episode? What pops out to you? I guess first of all, what pops right into your head?
I enjoyed it. First of all, I don't want to just jump out the gun. One of the scenes I knew was going to happen with Jon Snow and Daenerys is kind of. He was like, why wouldn't he just bend the knee? Of course he can't bend the knee. He's the king of the North, and she's unproven.
He's never met her before, which is like...
Why does that even matter, though?
Yeah, well, I'm just, it's mind-blowing to me that, the two main characters of the freaking show have never met each other before. And them meeting for the first time in last night's episode was pretty wild, if you ask me. But at the same time, just based upon what I know of Jon Snow, is he doesn't bend a knee to just anybody.
Honestly, I'm not sure if I've ever seen him bend the knee besides maybe when Robert Baratheon showed up on episode 1. Maybe he bent the knee there, but I'm not even sure he was there because he's a bastard. And he might not even have been in the lineup if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, he was second row. He was actually. It's funny you said that episode 1. My parents started watching it yesterday, and so it was kind of funny to go back and see all these people that are alive. And I'm like, this is so, kind of surreal for me. I mean, I've seen it 3 times, but I mean, every time I go back, it's still kind of funny. But it was the Starks and all the
pure Starks,
yeah, and then Jon Snow is in the second row behind them. So, but no, as far as this episode, fantastic. It's nice to see kind of what you both mentioned on there, seeing these plot lines and these main characters finally crossing paths. We've been building up for this for,
fire and ice.
Six seasons basically, and now we're finally getting to see Jon Snow and getting him back with Tyrion. He saw him in the first season at the Wall, and they referenced that. But
right.
It was kind of neat just to see Daenerys, and no one wanted to bluff. That's kind of the way it was. And
right.
Daenerys is like, no, you're going to kneel. And Jon's like, I don't think I'm going to.
And Daenerys is like, this is the guy that you spoke, talking to Tyrion, this is the guy that you spoke kind of so highly of. And basically what it is Daenerys is like, announce me as your queen and we can get this done. We can work together. And he's like, I'm the king of the North. I'm not going to just give up, relinquish what I've got just for anybody. And plus, I just met you, so.
Yeah, he kept mentioning that. It's like, I just met you. Okay.
Yeah.
You had never met Cersei until she came.
She also mentions that she's the queen of the 7 kingdoms, and the North is one of the 7 kingdoms. So it's sort of a power struggle there for a little bit.
I think
because he would have to. The Warden of the North is what she called him, which is a downgrade.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what she kept referring to. Because she says that going back for generations, a Stark has always been the Warden of a Targaryen. sort of like at the right hand. And but he pretty much he breaks that up real quick when he says like he pretty much says like that ritual ended when your father like burned my uncle and my grandfather alive, kind of thing. That's where that stopped.
It shows he holds the grudge. Like he's like, he was not there. Neither was Ned, his bastard father, who he thinks is. Turns out it's not. But he's loyal to the name Stark, even though it's not his name. And so I don't know. He just has is a boss move, in my opinion, for him to be like, no, I'm not going to kneel. Like, that's okay. Like, we'll get you next time. He's like, no, I need your help just as much as you need my help. And I probably need your help a little bit more than you need mine, honestly.
Well, the Starks were the nicest treaters of bastards and of wardens because Theon was treated well. I mean, he was essentially like a fake Stark, and so was Jon Snow. Jon Snow was actually treated, it seemed like a step down from Theon when Catelyn was around.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they were treated well. I mean, he was treated better than everyone else because you see it when he goes to the wall. He was taught how to fight well. I mean, he's bested everyone there. Like, you knew he was going to be Lord Commander as soon as he stepped foot on the property.
And, the whole reason why he's at Dragonstone in the first place, it's the way I understand, it's not. Is he there just for the dragon glass?
Yep. Sam sent him the Raven, saying that Dragonstone has a mountain of dragon glass, and he knows that they can forge that and mine it to make weapons.
So he really has no desire to really team up with Daenerys and the Dothraki.
Yeah, no, I don't think he does
at all. He just wants the dragon glass
exactly
for the North.
I think he holds his reservations just like dating back to how his grandfather and uncle were treated by her dad, and they talk about, we understand you're not held to your father's sins. At the same time, he's got some reservations, and he's like, I kind of just met you, lady,
right.
and you're making all these accusations about me, and I haven't said anything about you, but I don't know. It was awesome.
Eventually, is it Tyrion that sort of he kind of vouches for Jon Snow, and then eventually she gives in and she says, do what you got to do, get the dragon glass, and I guess she also sort of volunteers the Dothraki to help him mine the dragon glass.
Well, yeah, there's two things that help that out. One, she is pissed that he won't bend the knee, like
she really is.
She's livid, but she's trying to hold it together because one,
and he also doesn't call her queen, or isn't that right?
No, he refers to her as Your Grace. He's respectful.
Okay.
He's respectful. Okay. Your Grace. Like, if you would have said Danny or something, then you would have been.
It was funny. I don't mean to interrupt, but when they walk into that throne room, like she's announced by like every single one of her names, and it takes like 45 seconds to get through all of her names. The Breaker of Chains, the Unburnt,
the Mother of Dragons. This is Jon Snow.
King of the North. And I can make sure to get that in there.
Yeah, exactly. He's like,
he said that after the fact, didn't he? This is Jon Snow, King of the North.
Yeah, exactly.
King of the who is it? Queen of the Andals and all of. Oh my goodness.
I'm with you guys though. I think that was by far the best. I think the best scene of the episode was just sort of the back and forth between Daenerys and Jon Snow. So yeah, I mean, and that sort of opens up the episode. I mean, we get some more. We get a little bit more back and forth with Tyrion and Jon Snow up on the cliff. Shortly following that, which I thought was sort of a powerful little moment there that they share together before getting sort of the okay from Daenerys.
It's like they only meet in high places.
That's true.
You got to get a good view. That was one thing I really thought this episode it looked really good. Like you have a lot of like sweeping shots of like the entire landscape because most of the action happens from up high. And so with that, that makes this episode I think one of the better looking episodes.
I love when Tyrion and Jon Snow are together. It dates back to season 1 when they're together on the wall, and he talks about how, we saw you at the wall. I believe you were pissing off of it. And then Jon's like, do you believe me that these White Walkers are real? And Tyrion's like, because Jon references.
Does Tyrion not?
Well, he believes that Jon is not a liar.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And so, like, if you go back to season 1,
he
he talks about White Walkers and how it's a myth, and he calls him a couple names, and Jon remembers that and brings it up to Tyrion. He's like, "So you don't believe me?" And he goes, "I believe an honest man's eyes and what they have seen." And so, I think Tyrion completely believes Jon Snow because, I mean, there's only been a handful of people that have actually seen White Walkers. And so Davos, who's with Jon Snow in Dragonstone, Jon Snow, and then a few at the Wall, and then Tormund, the wildling.
Can I take a rabbit trail?
Sure.
Have you guys ever been mountain climbing?
Not really.
I did in college a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. If you do it with the harness and everything, I haven't done that. I just cheap climbing. But I'm thinking about when they climb the wall, the wildlings.
Too overweight for that.
No, you're not. You'd be surprised the people that do it. But when they tried to climb the wall, I'm thinking eventually the White Walkers are going to try to climb the wall if they just don't breach the one door. And I was just like, that wall is what, 100 feet or way more than 100 feet?
Oh, yeah.
Several hundred feet. And like they're just climbing. That's going to happen. I'm just like visually how that's going to look like just roaches on that wall.
I wonder if they're going to actually like scale the wall or if the Night King is going to have like a spell or some magic or something and he just breaks the whole thing.
Builds a staircase.
Or if he's just like, because you know how he makes all the White Walkers rise up when they're battling north of the wall, and like he just has the power to control all that. If he can't just like summon something against the wall,
well,
and
he's got giants
you watch it crumble.
Yeah, the fire and I'm more convinced now that they said fire and ice that Jon Snow is not the ice to Daenerys's fire. It's really the Night King. Like,
oh really?
Yeah.
Now, see, I know you had mentioned that before about how Jon Snow and Daenerys fire and ice, and then the Red Witch Melisandre actually says that, and like it finally, like even though you've said it, I'm like, no, that can't be it. And then she says it, and I'm like, okay, maybe it is. But then now you say that, maybe you are right, because I don't know if they would just deliberately.
It's too easy.
Come out with that, right? Yeah.
The show's never been that easy. Like
just when you get attached, they
I knew
sweep you out under your feet.
Yeah, because like you can't tell me like when you're watching the show first couple episodes, Ned Stark loses his head that your heart's not like, oh, I liked Ned. Like,
I think everybody had to like Ned in the beginning, unless like you just have a heart of stone. But he was just
everybody
so
was
admirable.
coming off of Lord of the Rings, and they were like, God, this guy is.
It's Boromir.
Time for Boromir to show his quality.
No, what were you going to say, Garrett?
I'm sorry, that rabbit trail took us off course. What was the next thing in the show?
So from Jon Snow, he gets the blessing from Daenerys to mine the dragon glass, and then we jump to King's Landing where we get Euron coming back with Cersei's prize, his niece.
Yara.
No,
Yeah,
she's not part of the prize though.
yeah. She's not the main prize. That's his.
That's right.
She's probably going to be an incestuous trophy for him.
Oh God, I hope not. But it's Game of Thrones, so
But
what do you expect?
She when he comes back, she does agree that she will grant his request. I guess to marry him,
Seems
or
like
to
he
just to
wants
get with him.
fornicate.
Yeah, he
I don't know.
just wants to get her in the sack. Honestly, is what it sounds like from him.
What does she say? Like once the war is over,
You'll have your heart's desire.
Yeah.
and then he asks Jamie if she likes a finger up the bum.
Dude, that was such a good scene though, because you could tell like Jamie had no idea. He's like, "Can I get some advice from you?" And Jamie's like, "What do you need advice from me? Like, you seem to know what you're doing." And he goes, "How does she like it? Rough, soft? Does she care for a finger in the bum?" And I was like, "Oh my God, this is so great!"
Dude,
and it like builds.
He is such a good character. He's awful, but he's such a good character.
It builds on his character arc, and I love Euron Greyjoy. Like bringing Eliara Sand and her daughter to Cersei in chains, and then you keep seeing Eliara look at the mountain who killed Oberyn, her husband.
She's getting out.
I think they have to, because they just left them both in there, and I realized that she poisoned or whatnot the daughter. Kind of it's poetic justice for her,
because in that moment, okay, so yeah, what happens is so the daughter and her mother are brought into the dungeon, and they're sort of like, okay, so what's going to happen here? I didn't realize going into the episode. I actually confirmed to you, Garrett, through text. I was like, that's the girl who her husband was the Viper, right, in the Mountain versus the Viper, and that's when you agreed with me. And I was like, oh, okay. So, and you see the Mountain standing there in his like new decked out like Darth Vader armor, I was like, okay, so this is gonna end real quick. Like he's just gonna do the same thing he did to her husband.
But Cersei's too good for that.
I loved her monologue about it, and she was saying, "I could have the mountain crush your head."
Yeah,
and it would be
exactly. That's what I
poetic.
thought was gonna happen.
But just knowing Cersei over these last 7 seasons, like you knew, and she's like, "I don't. That's too fast." And she's like, she
Right.
wants her to suffer, and so you had texted me about this too. So back season 4 or 5, I can't remember. It kind of gets muddy right there. Cersei's daughter is sent by Tyrion to Dorne because it's a safe haven basically where no one really goes because it's in Essos. It's so far away, and it's Marcella Lannister, or I guess Baratheon technically. But she goes, and
She knows too.
when she's headed back, Jaime goes to go get her. Cersei sends the command to go get Marcella, and before she leaves, Eliara Sand kisses her. What you find out is she actually had poison on her lips, and
Poison ivy, straight up poison ivy move. Rubber lips.
freeze. But you see, she gets all the way. Marcella gets all the way back to King's Landing, and she dies in Jaime's arms. And Jaime has to go tell his lover sister that their daughter is actually dead because of that. And so it was so poetic of Cersei to have a poison on her lips, and she kisses Eliara Sand's daughter, who's also captured, and she actually tells her, she's like, this is kind of what's going on. And you asked me, like, hey, what was that thing that Cersei drank? And I was like, it's the antidote to the poison she has because it could still kill her, but she's also down there with her new hand.
It happened so quick. I totally missed it. Like I didn't realize that that's what happened.
Now there's several things that come back in. Now you said what's that guy's name? Bronn.
Yeah.
The sellsword. Yeah. Now there's a scene where they go to Dorne, and the 3 sisters who were bested so quickly by Euron and his Greyjoy guys. I'm sure that ticked off a lot of fans, especially some of the women fans, because it's like these girls are badass, but now they just got dealt with quickly.
They really did.
But of course, the prettiest of the sisters gets to survive, and of course, she's had use of the poison before. She's well versed in the poison because she threw the antidote to Bronn, and I think what did they kiss or something? Or he stole a kiss from her.
Yeah, he did, and
she just had it just chilling on her lips the whole time. She was just ready for it. Or no, she didn't kiss him. Her blade was dipped.
Yeah, the blade. Yeah, that's right.
The blade was dipped. So but she's been exposed to this poison. So I think her constitution or ability to deal with it will last a little bit longer. Probably gonna take 2 or 3 episodes before it affects her. She may not make it out, but her mom is definitely making it out. But she's not going to be able to kill Clegane because I think that's going to be the dog.
Oh yeah, it's going to be the Clegane Bowl, like we've talked about.
Yeah.
Like it has to be. That's the only way I see either the Hound or the Mountain dying. Is by their brother. So Eliara
I know
Sand,
which one I would prefer.
Well, I think most people would prefer the Hound, but I mean, there's probably some people that love the Mountain. there probably are.
It's probably the one that most people would want, and that's the thing that's not going to happen.
What is it? The Westeros Frankenstein monster?
No, but like they have them chained in the same room, and they can pull their chains far enough to like become face to face to one another, and
almost kiss each other.
Right, and they leave them there, and I'm like, that I probably would have just went ahead and got rid of both of them. Just like if you plan on it, but I understand the whole I want to make you suffer, make you watch your daughter die, but same time,
Right, because
like, the sand snakes.
Well, can't you just rub it off and prolong it a little bit longer? Because she rubs it off and then takes the anti-serum or whatever, the serum for it, and what's the word I'm looking for?
Antidote?
Antidote. But she could wipe it off and last a couple extra days. And like her mom's like, oh, my baby, you got 2 other daughters that died. You should be used to this. You're a veteran now.
Well, does she know that her daughters are dead?
Oh, yeah.
You think so?
Oh,
hanging from the boat.
The other daughter saw him get sliced up right in front of her.
The question, so the poison, it's not something that's supposed to kill her instantly, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
She's supposed to. She said that she was going to keep the mother alive long enough to watch her daughter die and sort of decompose and everything like that. So I guess I don't know what the time frame on something like that, but yeah, that's a rough way to go.
Huh. She's not a good person either. Like she killed the ruler of Dorne.
Yeah.
Yeah, her brother-in-law basically. Like
Yeah.
it was Oberyn's brother, and she had him killed, and she stabbed him. So I mean,
She's pretty screwed up, man.
She brought this on herself.
And it's like nothing like a little torture to get the mood going. So her and Jamie then hook up again, and the next morning they're sort of caught by that servant or whatever.
yeah, she didn't even
On
care.
purpose.
She's like, I'm the queen.
Yeah,
like
she's
I don't even care
I'm
anymore.
the queen now, and I mean, I guess people know that that's a thing,
Everyone knows. I mean, it's all over Westeros.
right? Did they know that her children were Jamie's
Oh, I
children?
think everybody knows that.
That
now,
came
yeah.
out in season 1. That's
Okay.
why Ned Stark was put to death.
Oh, okay.
Because
The siege
he's
is strong.
questioning, questioning Joffrey's heir to the throne.
His lineage there. They're like, yeah, the Baratheons, they're dark of
hair.
hair. And the seed is strong. They put that in like the book of all the Baratheons, all the Lannisters, and all the Starks. They always say like, kind of how their hair, like traits that each family has. And the Lannister is blonde hair, Targaryens is white hair, Baratheons is the brown or dark hair. So that's kind of how they go. Starks, I don't really talk about that much, but
Right.
most of them are dark hair besides Sansa, who's red.
Was that pretty much it for King's Landing? Was there anything else I'm missing?
Well, I think this points out that out of all the characters, Jaime Lannister loves his family the most.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In
He's
more ways than one.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, he let Tyrion go. He loves his sister, and he knows that she's the devil. I mean, we'll get to that probably when we get to High Garden. But, I mean, this guy, like, he's conflicted. Like, he probably should have just stayed with Brienne and had a normal-ish life until the free folk, what's his name, Tormund, killed him.
yeah.
That's his woman.
Oh, that's always fun to see them on screen together.
So yeah, from King's Landing we go to back to Winterfell where we see Sansa, and they have a pretty neat little moment with Bran, right? Or Bronn.
Bran.
Oh, okay, my fault. And Bronn basically Bran. I'm sorry.
Like Bran Flex.
I'm reading and trying to talk at the same time. Bran tells her that he is the three-eyed raven, which I guess that's supposed to mean the present, the past, and the future, right? Is that
Si,
what?
senor.
He sees everything.
Right.
It's so funny that scene though because he's just so nonchalant about it. They're at the face tree. I'm not really sure what the name of that tree
Yeah, I
is.
asked you. I was like, "What's the deal with the face tree?"
He's like,
and you're
how-
like, "I don't even remember."
I was like, it's been there since the beginning, and it used to like cry blood and stuff.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool, but no, they're sitting there, and Bran's against a tree, and Sansa's there just kind of talking to him, and Bran's just laid back, and
Can we not get like Bran some crutches or something at this point, or does he have to be drug around? By
None of his legs work.
Yeah, he's
None of his legs. No, but what about his arms?
What? How can you use crutches if your legs don't work? You have to have at least one working leg for
I mean,
crutches.
I
You
guess.
thinking like Tiny Tim? Is that what you're thinking of here?
I guess you can't build him a
God
wall.
bless us, everyone.
you just want them to
There's-
like swing.
There's no wheels in this universe, I guess. Yet.
Well, he's in a
I mean,
cart.
they have wheels.
So I mean, like,
You want to
What do
them
they-
to make him a.
what do they call you? Wheels?
Oh man,
No, you could give
you want
him
him
like
to have a wheelchair. Is basically what
oh,
you're
like
saying.
a little walker, maybe. I don't know. I was just
So this is probably not
I
going to
was
be
just trying to be funny.
popular. It was funny.
Thanks,
wheels.
Wheels.
Bran is a little douchey.
He was. I liked it though.
Yeah, that was cool.
He,
I mean-
he gave it back to Sansa. I don't know. Like I felt like everybody kind of overlooked Bran from the beginning. Like he's always the youngest Stark, and she actually says that to him. She's like, "Your father's only heir, like son, male heir," and he's like, "I can't ever be the Lord of Winterfell." He goes, "I'm the three-eyed raven." She's like, "What are you talking about?" And he's just like, "It's so hard to understand that you couldn't even like fathom what I deal with every day."
You just wouldn't understand.
It was
And he dropped a little hint that he knew what she had been through.
yeah, and you could tell like it bothered her. That's why she got up and left.
Like a cool moment is he tells her, he's like, "You look so good in your wedding dress," and obviously she's not married.
No, she is married.
she is.
Twice over.
Oh, okay.
One unconsummated, so it doesn't count, and then the other one.
Ramsay, he's dead. She
Well, he says something about her wedding that freaks her out.
Yeah, she was
So,
married to Ramsay in a white
She
dress.
was married to Ramsay. He was leader at he was a Bolton at this time, and he had taken Winterfell.
We're Boltons too.
We technically, yeah,
Technically are.
but
Bolton High School.
but
Class of 07.
I'm not.
but no. So like, what happens is she is wed to him to tie their family so it Stark's at Winterfell again, and basically just give Boltons like a little bit of force behind their name. But she's raped on her wedding night,
okay.
and so
That's a
it's
shame.
bringing up memories.
Actually, it's not okay,
to her.
Duncan.
I said that's a shame.
I'm just messing with you.
She's just extremely attractive.
But
It's awful.
what happens is Bran was basically there, and she didn't think anyone knew like kind of what happened. Like people had made rumors and stuff, but it brings up all those old feelings of the way she felt that night, and that's why she gets up and leaves. And he's like, "I'm just gonna stay here a while longer."
Yeah.
Oh, and he does say one of the big things I thought he said was, "Where's John? There's something I need to tell him, or I need to talk with him." And Bran's the only person that knows John is not Ned Stark's bastard. Like he's the only person alive now that knows that, and so you have to
still a
assume
Stark,
that he is. He's half Stark, half Targaryen. So
It'd be funny if he could, because can he turn into the Raven?
yeah,
And he could just fly to where they are. Like he can see all this. Like the show, it's kind of like when I watched Lord of the Rings, and then the Eagles came out and they just flew
boom,
there.
get on the Eagles.
Dude,
Game over.
where were the Eagles the whole
Eagles.
time?
Move you over.
I've learned to like Bran a lot more.
I still like him. He deserves to have that. I mean, he is Dr. Manhattan of this freaking show because he knows everything. He's seen everything. Time is useless to him because he can see the future, the past, and the present. Like I mean, it's not even a day. It's not time. He's just there.
I think I'm more excited at this point now to see Bran and Jon meet back up than I was Jon to meet Daenerys. That's just because Bran's got this huge secret that no one else knows, that he can just be like, Jon, you're not my father's son. You're my aunt's son. So technically we're cousins, not brothers. I mean, it's a huge like plot line that everyone has speculated on since season 1, and there's all these conspiracy theories about it, and it turns out we were right. And so I'm really, really excited to see if Jon makes it back to Winterfell. And honestly, when we were at Winterfell and they tell Sansa that someone's at the gate, I thought it was Arya. Like I really did. Like I don't know why, because we hadn't seen Bran. He's at the wall, and he was with the crows. But I was like, oh, Arya finally made it back to the north. And so I'm thinking maybe in the next couple episodes we'll see Arya back at Winterfell and see where that goes, and see her and Sansa bicker and hate each other like they always have. But I really enjoyed the Bran part of this episode. I mean, it was only for like 10 minutes, but at the same time it was like, this is awesome to me.
Arya is gonna kill Baelish. It's gonna
You think
happen. Baelish, what's gonna happen? Arya is gonna put on Sansa's face. Baelish is gonna make a move. Gonna let him get there, and she's gonna be like, "No," and he's like, "Come on, you know you want it." Slits his throat. Like I don't like that guy. Every time he talks, he just looks creepy.
The Doctor Strange of the
Doctor Strange.
GOT. That's what Duncan, the first time he saw him, he was like, who's this guy, Dr. Strange? And I was like, that's Peter
the
Bay's little
assaulty,
finger.
We've got
Doctor Strange.
We've got Doctor Strange. We've got Captain Boomerang. We've got
Dr. Manhattan.
Bolivar Trask. Literally.
Yeah, I mean, we got some Marvel crossover.
We got-
Yeah,
we got
exactly.
the Punisher with Clegane.
Yeah.
We got Frankenstein's monster.
So from
I think Euron's like a Deadpool almost, because he's so comical with his violence.
we jump from that point into one of the cooler moments I thought from the show, and that's back to our old buddy Samwell again, and it's revealed that he's cured Jorah of the grayscale, and that was a pretty powerful moment because there at the end, you find out that Jorah's good to go pretty much, and he puts his hand out to shake Samwell's hand, and you got to think that he hasn't touched another person for a long time, and that's kind of a cool moment.
You could see Sam like his little bit of reservation.
Yeah, he
He's like,
hesitates a little bit. He's like, I don't know.
I know I helped you and all, but I don't really want this, so
Yeah, it's a little risky.
Yeah,
Sam has been awesome this season.
Yeah.
Like he's actually more of a three-eyed raven in every episode because he knows all this about. He sent Jon to Dragonstone. He's figured out grayscale, how to take care of that. And there's a moment where I felt bad for him because the Archmaester was like, "Sam, come into my chambers this evening," and I was like, "Oh, Sam's gone. Like, see you, buddy. You gotta go back to the wall." And you know, it was a really good moment with Jorah, and then Sam does reference that, you know, his Jorah's dad, who was the Lord Commander before Jon, you know, saved his life so many times that that Sam was glad that he could actually help a Mormont out and save Jorah from this grayscale, because it does kill you. Like, that's just the way it goes.
Death.
But I was so glad that the Archmaester did not get rid of Sam and relieve him of his duties. It was funny because he still makes him do like the grunt work, and he has to copy all these scrolls, and he says like the papers, be really careful with those, and there's like a bug in there that loves flesh too as much as it likes paper. And so he kind of references it. The Archmaester says, "Were you expecting an award or something?" You know, he's like, "You did a good job, but you know, back to what you're here to do." And so,
yeah, you should be lucky I didn't kick you out.
Exactly. And Sam's just like, you can see he's like, "Dang it!" But at the same time, he's like, "Okay, good. I'm glad I'm not like fired." So,
yeah. But yeah, I thought that was a really good moment, you know, and just like you said, I think Sam is, I don't know, he's turning out to be one of my favorite characters for sure. What happens then is the Unsullied, right?
yes.
They attack Casterly Rock, and I'm struggling. What?
So this scene's awesome because Tyrion is narrating the whole thing, and he knows Casterly Rock better than anyone else because he's a Lannister and he grew up there. And so he actually says, you know, the walls are impenetrable. It's a force you cannot take, and it shows the Unsullied trying to do like a Two Towers. If we keep referencing our Lord of the Rings stuff, where the ladders go up,
it's either Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter.
And well, you know, you got some British-speaking people, so it kind of goes along the same line. But what happens, you know, the ladders come up, and the Lannister soldiers are there, and they're shooting arrows, and they're dropping rocks on them. But then, you know, Tyrion actually says, you know, it cannot be taken that way. He goes, "Well, I was in charge of making the sewers, and Father didn't like when I had basically prostitutes in my room." He said it was not kosher on his watch, basically. And he says that he builds a special little back entrance in there, and so... the best line was about impregnating the woman. He says, "If you give me 8 good men, I'll impregnate that bitch." He goes, "I don't care how much of a virgin she is," basically. And it shows the Unsullied opening the doors and all the other Unsullied soldiers walking in and basically just taking over Casterly Rock. So I just love the fact that Tyrion was the one that the battle's going on, but Tyrion is narrating the entire thing up until we see Grey Worm asking where the other Lannister soldiers are.
And that's when we end up at Highgarden, is it? And we see that a real formidable force has showed up, and they quickly, I mean, this is like a knife through hot butter. Yeah. It's just over. Like, there's no fighting scenes. They just walk up there, and she's like, "How will it happen?" And, you know, and it's so funny because she's hearing from him all the way Cersei wanted to kill her in the nasty ways, whipped through the street, you know, tortured, flayed. And he was like, I talked her out of it because he's a sensible person. Like, and you don't see that because he's a Lannister and he comes from privilege, and he was kind of a douchebag because he was. And he was a great fighter. But you have to think, it pained him to be the Kingslayer. Like, he doesn't like to be called the Kingslayer. And we thought about him in all these negative ways, but he's a prisoner of where he was born and who he fell in love with, which I don't agree with, but whatever. He's not hurting anyone. That's his own disgusting choice. But he goes out of his way to take care of this woman, to make sure she dies in a nice fashion. And then while he's giving her all this grace and mercy, she was like, "You know, I used the poison on your son. I had never seen it used before. I didn't know it would be so violent and brutal, and there's foaming. Let Cersei know that it was me." And you can see he just wanted to slice her up. He's like, "No, I'll just let it go. I'll just take that anger with me."
They show, like, back at Casterly Rock, they show Grey Worm, and he keeps asking us, where is the Lannister army? And you always think that Cersei's always behind, but come to find out, she's 3 steps ahead of everyone.
Maybe 4. I never saw that.
I didn't either. And so basically, Grey Worm knows, like, Tyrion had talked this place up, and they knew to send the Unsullied to Casterly Rock to take it over. And they take it rather easily. I mean, they probably lose like a third of their men, like you said, but he's like, where are the other men? And he looks out in the harbor and he sees that Greyjoys are destroying their boat. So they're basically trapped there. But then it shows Jaime riding the horse with the Lannister army. And it's, like you said, it's a formidable army. And Highgarden's not known for their military strategy. They're known for their money.
Yeah.
And that they're the rich
Which is
family.
funny because if you have all that money, she said it before, why didn't your father come tear us down? I think it's going to have repercussions.
Yeah.
It doesn't look good.
It doesn't. But that scene with Lady Olenna and Jaime was my favorite part of the episode.
It's a good moment.
More than Jon and Dany. Like, for me, because
It revealed more.
Danny.
that's what people call it.
I like that.
But what I loved about it was Lady Olenna knows she's dying. Like, she knows she's going to die, and she keeps asking, how will you do it?
Straight up G about it, too.
And she was, but she owned her own death.
Yeah.
She got the last word in
It was
and
gonna
said,
be. It's probably gonna be a lot worse if Cersei got a hold of her.
well, she would have been captured and taken back to King's Landing and probably flayed, and then hung up on the tower, like they said.
Have you guys seen John Wick 2?
No, I watched the first one this past weekend, though.
All right, never mind. Go ahead.
I've seen the first one. I haven't seen the second one.
But
And I run a movie YouTube channel.
That's all right,
no, but she owns that scene. Like, she still wins, and the force at which she drank her poison wine, she was just like, "Yep, let's do this thing."
She was ready for it.
She said, "But hang on," and she's old too. Like, I feel like she
She knew
knows
it was coming.
She's outlived tons of people.
Yeah.
But
How old do people live in Westeros? Like 35.
Jamie's 40,
People get older.
Dysentery.
so I mean,
Well, the rich. Well, she kind of knew why she was dying. She did everything within her imagination, but the things and evil that Cersei did were nowhere near her imagination, and that was she was a victim of, having too small of an imagination. Like blowing up that building with all those people, that was amazing because you don't see explosions like
you
that
don't.
at all.
no, it was. I'm sad, honestly, that Lady Olenna is gone now, or we don't actually see her die. But
There's
it's
no
assumed-
Marjorie. We don't need her.
Marjorie, R.I.P. But no, it was she wins her death. Like, Jaime went in there and he was like boss move after boss move. He's like, pouring the wine. He goes, and it's funny because she asks, he goes, "Well, how did we do?" He goes, about as well as you expected, because they're not known for military, and like he had all these little quips and stuff. And then Jaime comes up to her, has a great monologue with her, but at the end, Lady Olenna wins her death,
Yeah.
which is crazy to say, but she's like, "Please, I want you to tell Cersei it was me. I want her to know it was me who killed her oldest son." And it was that was amazing to me. It was my favorite scene we've had so far in season 3.
That
7.
was a boss throwback. Like
It was.
that was powerful because we never knew until that point.
It was always assumed. We always assumed
It was a strong assumption.
It was because they reference, if you watch season 5, when in the garden at King's Landing, she says, "You think I'd really let you marry that monster?" And Lady Olenna's talking to Marjorie, her granddaughter, and you're kind of thinking, okay, the gears are turning here, like something's gonna happen.
Maybe she paid someone off.
Exactly, and that's
She was
kind
the
of the thinking.
mastermind.
That's the kind of thinking, and I remember back when her and Tywin were on the on the small council, and they were talking, and the back and forth that the Lannister and the Tyrell had back then, and it was just so amazing for her to admit that, she knows she's dying. She's like, whatever, but I'm gonna beat Cersei one more time before I go, and it was just so powerful, and because everybody was like, the whole time Cersei's thought that Tyrion, because he was Joffrey's cupbearer, because that's what Joffrey shamed him into doing. Either Tyrion did it or Sansa did it, and
Or Marjorie.
yeah, I mean, but everyone loved Marjorie so much, so that I don't think Cersei
but
ever thought that it was actually her.
She might have been worried about being Ramsay Bolton by Joffrey.
That's true too.
Although I think he had other proclivities. That he
Oh,
was
I did
into.
too. He was probably gonna kill her before, like shoot her with some arrows and his crossbow that he kept showing.
That was a good $5 word, Will. Proclivities.
I'm sorry.
But no, I am sad to see Lady Olenna go. I thought it was a great death for her getting her last word in, her winning her own death, and sticking it to Cersei one last time. Thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And that sort of wraps up this particular episode. I mean, what do I like to end each one of these podcasts with sort of like, a moment to sort of to do some.
Speculating.
Yeah, I don't know why I could not think of that word for a second. So I mean, does this episode change anything for you guys, or does it? Are you still pretty sure you think what's going to happen towards the end of the series?
For me, it weakens Daenerys twofold. She's lost the sea.
So you don't think it's going to be her in the end?
Oh, I'm not saying that, but
okay.
I think now she needs Jon Snow more than she realized. She needs the North. And I think that's kind of where we're going towards the end of this season, because she's lost. The Unsullied are trapped on Castle Rock. The Greyjoys are controlled. The sea is controlled by Euron Greyjoy.
They were counting on the Unsullied too.
They were.
It was going to be part of their little armada.
And so it's kind of interesting, like what's going to happen. And now, Daenerys is going to need Jon a lot more than I think she originally thought.
Right.
Because she had the power. She had the Sand Snakes, she had the Tyrells, she has the Dothraki, she had the Unsullied. Well, now she's down to basically just a handful of Dothraki. And so it's, Jon doesn't have a great, I don't think he has a great army behind him. Like he told women, children,
it's a bunch of
everyone need to learn how to fight to defeat these White Walkers.
Just the North.
Yeah, and so, but he's more concerned with the White Walkers, which I think is more appropriate than this battle over an Iron Throne that Daenerys has her eyes set on. So,
ooh, speculation coming. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the season, I don't know where we're going to go from here, honestly. I know we're going to end up.
I think we're going to see some dragons doing some action.
Oh, I mean, where do you think they're going to be, though? Like King's Landing?
I don't know. I mean,
I don't think they're going there.
I don't think they're going to King's Landing either. I think they're going to try to go to Castle Rock and get the Unsullied.
So Castle Rock might be the battleground, which I thought was going to be Dragonstone. See, they don't have any ships now. They lost
right. They lost their fleet,
all of it, and then Euron he's just bossing up very quickly. But what's going to happen is Cersei or someone who is ruling Westeros is going to have to die or not bend the knee, but get in line with fighting the White Walkers. And what you're going to see is everything's going to build to a head at the end of the season. What are we? That was episode 3. We got 4 more episodes. We're going to be right in the midst of a battle. Jon Snow's probably going to join Daenerys towards the end. Maybe this next episode, she was like, well, I need your help. Well, let me get this dragon glass back, and then I'll see what I can do. It's like, no. They'll go back and forth. Hopefully, the 3-eyed raven comes so we don't see another incestuous relationship sprout up, because a lot of that bickering leads to some hot scenes. So what's going to happen? They're going to be fighting the Lannisters. Cersei's probably going to be killed. I don't know who, but it'd be nice if the Dorne lady did it. It would be fitting, almost poetic, but she kind of doesn't deserve it. She's not good enough to land that kind of death blow. And the White Walkers are going to show up. And then all hell's going to break loose. And then they're going to have to decide, do you want to win a throne or do you want to live? And that's going to be that's the season finale of this season. And nothing has changed. And I always talked about it. Dany's trip to the Iron Throne has seemed easy. She gets slapped, she gets backhanded, and then she gets gifted something. So just like we saw the stuff that was gifted to Cersei, Dany's got a gift that is coming. It might be Jon Snow, it might be the dragon glass. Hell, she might even get the Night King on her side with a little fire and ice action. But she's got a gift coming. We just saw her smacked in the first episode. In the second episode, we saw her get backhanded. In this episode, she lost all her allies. She lost Dorne. She lost the Tyrells, and she lost the Greyjoys. Fully now. Everything that she had gained is gone. So that has to come back. And the North isn't good enough right now. I mean, what did they have? Like a small army? They did have enough to take King's Landing, but
the Battle of the Bastards kind of helped out with that and clearing out the population in the North. So.
Yeah.
Have you, just a sidetrack on, you said Cersei dying, you were saying maybe Eliara Sand. So today I got back on some forums and just some different threads about Game of Thrones conspiracies and theories and stuff, just to see, because I know we talk about this weekly. Do you remember when Cersei was a child and they show it,
All her kids were gonna
episode,
die.
all her kids were going to die. She's going to be thrown over by a more beautiful, younger queen, and that she would be killed by, I can't remember the name of what they call it, but in Valerian, it means little brother. People think that Jaime is going to actually kill Cersei.
It's possible.
And so I would love to see that, honestly.
Do you know when it's going to happen, though?
That's the thing is, I don't think
It's foreshadowed.
anyone-
You know when it's going to happen. I just kind of laid it out. When they need to get together. Because she's talking about legacy and all this bullcrap. The dynasty. So he's going to have to kill her.
Aluminium.
And he's the only one that can get that close because he's gotten closer than anyone else has ever gotten to her. And when they realize that, hey, we need to get together and kill these White Walkers because when we die, they're our enemies now. He's just snapping his finger and the Night King's bringing them back to life, which is like a battle that's never going to end until we kill the Night King, which I don't think Dragonglass kills him.
We'll see.
So you might need Dragonglass and the one dragon that's going to survive
and
all
Valerian
this.
still all of it at the same time through each eyeball and the heart.
Or maybe only Valerian still kills him.
That'd be kind of cool. No, but I for me, the arc of Jaime has not been a schemer, at least publicly portrayed. Like we have not seen Jaime as a schemer, but he is the closest to Cersei, bar none.
Yeah.
I hope it is. Like I hope it's true.
That would be pretty cool.
I think she's more worried about Tyrion. She knows the prophecy that was given to her, and so she's
No one else, I think.
no, she's
is
the only one in
cognizant
there.
of that.
Yeah, and so
Jaime's mad about the Fallout Boy. That son, when he just fell out, and then she's just like on the throne. He's like, "Well, you're not even grieving."
Where is your boy tonight?
no, I hope it's true, and I'm gonna continue to read different theories on that because
Theories.
for the most part, I will say that the Game of Thrones fandom, fan club, whatever you want to call us, Game of Thrones Knights, they've been right
With the dragons.
on a lot of different aspects, you know, with the whole Jon Snow being Rhaegar Targaryen's son. And it's just, I honestly don't know what's going to happen here, but I hope Cersei makes it to season 8, honestly, because she's such a good,
Season 8.
hateable character.
Season 8. Well, she's gonna make it there. Season 8, episode 1 or 2 will be her demise. That's just what I see.
I kind of want to see a White Walker Cersei. That'd be pretty cool.
But the sad part is that Jaime is definitely gonna have to die because he's gonna be heartbroken after he does it.
You think he's going to kill her and then kill himself?
No, he'll die in battle.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'd love for it to come true, but I just think that Cersei's so worried about Tyrion that she's not thinking, you know, her lover, her brother, who she wants to spend the rest of her life with and create this dynasty with.
Oh, she doesn't care about that as much because she's ready to let Greyjoy. She's gonna kill him. Like, you'll have your heart's desire. That's not. She's definitely gonna double cross him.
Oh yeah, she's not going to marry him. I don't think that at all. But it's we're setting up for a pretty good rest of the 4 episodes this season. So
I think a lot has to happen in these last 4 episodes. I mean, if it's going the way it seems to
I
be
think
going.
they might just set up the rest of this season, the next 4 episodes, the setup, and then episode or season 8 is just all out war.
Yeah, it's
That's kind of
definitely
the
gonna be
way
set up.
we're
I mean,
going.
you got to think they got to do something for the season finale. That's sort of.
You'd be surprised. They're hit or miss.
It's usually the
episode
episode
right
before.
before, yeah.
It's always the episode before
Episode
the season
6
finale.
is what you're gonna get all you want.
So I guess we will certainly have to look forward to that. So I guess that pretty much wraps up the episode, guys. Was there anything else you guys wanted to mention before we head out of here?
I'm good. I think we covered it all.
Right.
The North remembers.
And nothing forever.
So yeah, we wanted to say we appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to the podcast. And speaking of podcasts, there are a couple of other podcasts that we hope you take the time to check out. If you are into movies and TV shows and things like that, then please feel free to check out another podcast that features the three of us, the HeroShot, which you can find on the Grind City Geek channel. But Will, you actually are part of another very cool podcast where you guys mainly take deeper dives into comics and different runs and things like that, called Powers Not Included.
Powers Not Included.
What do you guys? I know you guys are recording a new episode tomorrow. What's in store for that new episode? Can we get a little sneak peek behind the curtain?
Yes. Secret Empire #7, Marvel's event. It's only going to have 10 issues, and then there's going to be a Secret Empire Omega. But it's time to kill Captain America. It's been heavily foreshadowed before Secret Empire started that Spider-Man, Miles Morales, was going to kill him.
Oh yeah, from Civil War 2.
Yeah, so
Is he still Hydra?
who? Captain America?
Yeah.
Very
he's
much so.
Okay.
Officially Hydra.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so you think they're going to kill Captain America?
Rogers.
You think they're going to kill Captain America off and then bring him back for Generations, which is the next event that Marvel's doing?
No comment.
I guess you'll have to listen to the episode to find out. So yeah, thanks a lot, guys, for taking the time to listen to this podcast. Again, you can check out more movie and TV stuff on the Grind City Geek YouTube channel, and also take a listen to Powers Not Included and the Hero Shot. So Garrett, Will, thanks a lot for taking the time to be on the episode with me.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, sir.
I guess we will see you guys next week. And yeah, I was gonna try and come up with a catchphrase, but I lost it. I don't know. We'll see you next week, guys. Bye bye.